Hi guys, welcome to the Teaching and Learning. In this lesson, I'm going to share the information about the direct and indirect assessment and how the questions will be. You can extract the information which is related with the direct and indirect assessment. What are the evidences of the direct assessment and the indirect assessment? So guys, you have to watch this video till the end of the slide. If you have any questions, you can write in the comment box. If you didn't subscribe the Teaching and Learning yet, don't forget to subscribe. If you want more videos like that, press the bell icon button. So guys, assessment, you know that it's really an important and plays wide role in the students' life and in the teaching and learning. We know that assessment is many types. Two types are the summative and formative assessment. And there are the different types of the summative and the formative assessment. In this video, we have to identify what are the assessment, summative assessment, how we call them the direct and indirect assessment, and what type of the formative assessment we call the direct and indirect assessment, and what are the evidences for that. So I'll be focusing the two questions which are related to the direct and indirect assessment and the evidences. So if you find the question in your pedagogy which is related with these two methods of the assessment, you should tick the correct and an appropriate answer for that. So the first question is related with the direct assessment, and the second is the indirect assessment. First, we need to understand what is the direct assessment and what is the difference between the direct and indirect assessment. As you know that the direct assessment that involved the faculty members or the teachers who conduct the assessment, who take the responsibility to check the students' performance. It can be type of the exams, it can be type of the projects, it can be tests, it can be capstone project, it can be thesis project. That means a professional, a teacher, a faculty member, an organization has decided what students have to learn and how they have to learn. This is the main point for that. So you can see here the question, the method assessment in which the student's learning is tangible, visible, measurable, and tend to be more compelling evidences of exactly what students have and have not learned. If you want to measure what they have learned and what not, we have to conduct the exams. We give the project. We give them a thesis. We conduct the test. And teacher, professional, professor, assessment department, faculty member, they have to set the benchmark to check the students' learning, to measure the students' learning. So this is the direct we call. The direct in which students' work or performance can be gauged, measured, or evaluated by the teacher and performer. So this is the important thing, that now you can think what are the components. A teacher, a professor, how they involved into them. So this is the main thing, you have to understand. I'll give you the example for that. However, the indirect assessment, that's the method of the assessment, which is a proxy sign, means it's not involved or assigned by teacher or something. It is decided by the students what they have to learn, how they have to reflect. Suppose students' participation, right? Conducting interviews, surveys. Who is this choice? This is the learner's choice. They have to decide that what they want to learn and how they want to learn. So this is the most important thing, that a proxy measure was used, such as a participation in a learning activity in which students' opinion, students' satisfaction, teachers' evaluation, observation, surveys, asking questions, interviews, these are the indirect assessment, and these are the evidences for that. So the method of assessment tends to be composed of proxy signs that students are probably learning, but it's not compelling as a faculty member. So in direct assessment, the faculty member, a teacher, and an organization has to decide it and create an evidences through conducting the test, exams, and project and thesis. However, in the indirect, the student has to decide it, or this is the proxy science in which uh, the observation, surveys, participation, and student satisfactions are the evidences for the indirect assessment. The student decide what he or she learned and how well it was learned. This is the. I'll give you another example. Ever visited doctor, and a doctor asks you questions. What questions? I will tell you. That what happened to you, right? This is the first question. What is the complaint, right? Then you will explain that I have a stomach pain, I have a temperature. How long? Since 2 days. Do you have a cough? Do you have itching? Do you have a throat pain? Do you eat properly? Now, like these questions, a doctor is keep evaluating yourself or getting the information. In this, he's checking or proxy signs, finding the proxy sign in order to reach a possible problem. Now, it may be sure, it may be or may not be. What he or she is trying to diagnose, that cannot be confirmed disease, but I use may or may not be. And how he is or she is diagnosing or reaching to the possible diagnosis through collecting the information, through the signs, and through interviewing, through questioning what symptoms you have observed he or she wants to know. This is called indirect investigation or assessment. Similarly, when a policeman or an investigating officer inquires somebody or complainant to give him an information about any mishappened, he or she will ask the same questions to reach the possible investigation or possible conclusion. But that's not the correct, that's not the appropriate, okay? That he wants to go to the closer science that what happened exactly. Back to the doctors. After that, doctor will write some reports that you have to do blood, you have to check the ECG, you have to go for the blood pressure, you have to go for sugar, you have to heartbeat, and like these reports he will assign and you will conduct them. Whatever diagnosed through the reports, that will be called the direct assessment. So what will be the evidences for the BP, the blood pressures report, the ECG reports, and etc. what he has written as an evidence. But for indirect, what will be his interviews, his answering, his observations. So this is called the direct and indirect assessment and the difference between them. So if you find a question which is related with the direct and indirect assessment, you have to answer it accordingly. Now question is that grading system. Now we grade that some students got 100, some students got a 98, some students got a 58, 78, or like that. Okay, the question is that are these grades or course grades are the direct assessment or indirect assessment? This is really important questions, and sometimes even I confused. Okay, but after research and reading a lot of the things, okay, that I found and I concluded that the course grades are the indirect assessment. Now question is how? Now if you are a teacher and an educator, you know that the course grade is the amalgamation or the combination of the several components. We call the marks breakdown. And in this marks breakdown, it's not only the exams and the test, it's also the participation, it's also the project, it also the teacher's observation, it also the students' attendance, it also the behaviors, it also the what we call the grace marks. Now when we combine all these things, that it is the combination of both direct and indirect assessment. So it is not only the exams mark or the test marks. Even the major portion of the course grades are related with the indirect assessment. So that's why the course grades are the examples or the evidence of the indirect assessment. So this can be the question you can think about it, okay, and if you have any thing which is related, you can share with me. But the course grades are the part of the indirect assessment. Now the last part, okay, that when should direct assessment used? Now the direct assessment is the most effective form of the assessment when you are measuring a single learning outcomes or objective or goals. Okay. For example, at the end of the lesson, okay, you conducted the quiz or you have assigned in order to check that students have achieved or they understood or not. That is the one of the it can be a writing practice, it can be what we call a short note, it can be something related with the your learning outcomes. So guys, this is the difference between uh, direct and indirect assessment, and it might help you to answer the pedagogy questions. If you have any question related to that, write in the comment box. We'll be meeting in the next lesson with a new topic and a theme. Till that, bye.